The night was silent across Falcon Base, and only the dull hum of generators echoed through the cold air. Captain Arya Blake walked slowly along the empty training yard, her steps steady but heavy. Everyone on the base knew she was strict, disciplined, and almost impossible to read. Yet nobody truly understood the weight she carried inside. They only whispered, guessed, and created stories without ever knowing her truth. Arya had joined the military at 19 with a fire in her heart and a determination few could match. She dreamed of serving her nation with honor and leading soldiers with courage. For years, she trained harder than everyone around her. She was the first to wake for drills and the last to leave the training ground. She passed tests that many officers failed and broke barriers that few women had ever crossed. But her rise was not welcomed by all. There were soldiers who respected her deeply, and others who felt threatened by her strength. Among them was Sergeant Cole Turner, a sharp but arrogant soldier who often joked that Arya got special treatment. He would laugh during PT sessions, saying she was always skipping the toughest drills. Many soldiers joined his laughter, not knowing the storm that lived beneath Arya's calm appearance. On one particularly cold morning, as frost covered the ground and breath turned to fog, Arya arrived late to the PT field. She walked with care, and her jaw was tight with silent pain. Turner immediately called out to her, "Well, Captain, finally awake, or did you skip PT again?" Arya looked at him but said nothing. Instead, she moved to her position with slow, controlled motions. Pain stabbed through her side with every step, but she hid it behind her usual straight posture. The other soldiers watched in amusement, believing Turner's words. During warm-up drills, Turner approached her again. "Captain, we are doing long sprints today. Bet you will drop out in the first round." Again, Arya still did not respond. She joined the sprints, but after only 3 laps, a sharp, burning sensation forced her to stop. She stood still, breathing slowly, eyes fixed ahead. Turner smirked and shouted for everyone to hear. "See, girls always make excuses. A little running and you all break." For the first time, Arya's mask cracked. She clenched her jaw and turned away. She could not let anger rise. She had spent years learning to control her emotions, to lead with discipline, and to hide her weakness. But today, something inside her shifted. She felt the weight of a truth she had carried alone for too long. Later that afternoon, the soldiers gathered in the common hall for a surprise inspection, led by Colonel Reeves. Arya walked in last, dressed in her heavy field jacket. Turner stood near the front, still with that mocking grin. Reeves began the inspection, checking uniforms, boots, and ID records. When he reached Turner, he paused. "Sergeant Turner, you and your squad filed a report this morning stating that Captain Blake avoided PT drills intentionally. Is that correct?" Turner puffed his chest. "Yes, sir. She always has an excuse." Reeves turned slowly toward Arya. "Captain, your explanation?" Arya looked up, her eyes steady but filled with something deeper than pride or anger. She stepped forward and spoke clearly. "Permission to remove my jacket, sir." Permission granted. The hall fell silent. Arya unzipped her jacket and slowly pulled it off, revealing the truth she had hidden for almost a year. Her right side showed a long, deep scar running from her ribs to her lower waist, the kind of scar only a battlefield explosion could create. The room filled with stunned gasps. Arya continued speaking, her voice calm, yet carrying the weight of everything she had endured. 8 months ago, during Operation Iron Shield, my team was ambushed while securing a village. An IED exploded near us. I shielded 2 young soldiers with my body. I was evacuated unconscious and spent weeks in recovery. Doctors said I would never run again. I refused to accept that. I returned to duty early, driven by responsibility, not pride. But the injury still causes severe pain, which limits my PT performance. I did not file a medical complaint because I did not want special treatment. I wanted to serve normally, without excuses. The hall was silent. Turner's face lost all color. He looked at the scar, unable to speak. Arya continued with a strong, steady tone. Every time Sergeant Turner mocked me, I stayed quiet because I did not want sympathy. But his words do not hurt me. His ignorance does. You judge me without knowing my sacrifices. This scar is not a weakness. It is a reminder that I gave everything to protect my soldiers. Reeves spoke firmly. Captain Blake, you should have reported the full extent of your injury. But what you did in the field is beyond commendable. Your bravery saved lives. The soldiers stood in complete silence as Arya put her jacket back on. Turner took a small step back, unable to lift his eyes. Arya then turned toward him. Sergeant Turner, you are a soldier. A soldier should not speak without understanding. You mocked a wound you could never survive. You judged a story you never lived. Her voice was not angry. It was deep, steady, powerful. Turner swallowed hard. Captain, I was wrong. Arya nodded. Not wrong, Turner. Just unaware. Now you know better. Use it wisely. Reeves dismissed the squad. But the way everyone looked at Arya had changed. No one saw her as weak or privileged anymore. They saw her as the woman who survived hell and walked back into uniform with silent strength. After that day, Turner trained twice as hard and never mocked anyone again. He later approached Arya, asking to learn discipline from her. She agreed, not because she wanted an apology, but because she believed in second chances. Months passed, and Arya finally regained enough strength to complete the full PT test without stopping. This time, when she crossed the finish line, the entire base cheered for her. Even Turner stood at the front, shouting louder than all. Arya Blake, the woman once doubted and judged, became the symbol of resilience on Falcon Base. Her story spread across units, inspiring young soldiers, especially women who dreamed of proving themselves in a world that doubted their strength. She no longer hid her scar. She wore it like a badge of honor. Not for sympathy, but as a message. Bravery is not loud. It is silent. It is the pain carried without complaint, the wounds hidden behind discipline, and the strength shown in the darkest moments. Arya Blake stood at the highest training hill one evening, watching the sun set behind the mountains. She whispered softly to herself, "Scars do not end me, they shape me." And with that, she walked down toward the barracks, ready for whatever tomorrow demanded. For she was a soldier, forged by fire, strengthened by sacrifice, and destined to lead, not with pride, but with heart. Why?